Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Hey, what's up, Locker Gnome? This is Art Malieri here, hanging out with Chris, and tonight we are talking about, you guessed it, iOS jailbreaking. So, I've been reading the news, as always. I read a lot of iOS news lately, and there was some hype out there as far as being able to install iPad apps on your iPhone. And, I like to do all the latest and greatest tricks to my phone, so I was like, yeah, that sounds like a fun idea. Apparently, there's an app called iTelepad to Pod. It's got say that real fast 3 times. iTelepad to Pod, iTelepad to Pod.
Well, what does it do?
So iTelepad to Pod is essentially an automator script for the Mac. It's Mac only, so you can't run it on Windows. You download this thing, you put it in your applications folder, and then when you double click it, the script comes up and it asks you, which one of your apps do you want to convert and put onto your iPhone. And once you select it.
So it'll put an iPad app on an iPhone.
Yeah, you can load your iPad apps on there. Some of them, are not going to be optimized. Like I saw some video of GarageBand for the iPad on an iPhone, and it looked like it was kind of chopped up and, the controls were all funky looking. But there's other apps that look flawless. For example, one that we have ready to go right now, which is really popular and really cool, Flipboard. I use Flipboard. Do you use Flipboard, Chris?
Oh, yeah, on the iPad, of course.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. So it makes you wonder why they don't have an iPhone version. But now, with some of the jailbreaking stuff out there, we can go ahead and load Flipboard onto our iPhone. So, you can play with some of these cool apps that you can only get on iPad. So say, for example, you didn't have an iPad and you really wanted to use Flipboard.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to go out and try and stand in line in the cold and get yourself an iPad, especially if you're in New York and you keep getting beat out by the people who are coming back every day to ship them to China. But so it looks like, are you demonstrating the Flipboard app?
Yeah, it's just Flipboard, and it's built for the iPad. So it's a script that you run on your Mac. Does it take the app and then convert it so that it runs on the iPhone or iPod Touch?
So essentially, the key to it is having root access to your iPhone, because you have to place the app via SSH protocol into the application folder in the root of your iPhone. So the script, what it does is it automates that process. In addition to placing it in there, it also has to set some permissions for read and write access, which it supposedly does all that. But I was having a heck of a time tonight trying to get it to SSH as root into my iPhone. So I actually didn't even use it. I did some research and I found out how to do it manually. And since I'm jailbroken, I was able to just essentially SSH or tunnel into my root file structure and place the application where it needs to go, change a couple of permissions, and here's the result. Everybody will now know that I am a huge Oprah fan.
Oprah! There we go.
And this is Flipboard. You can see it right there.
Yeah, I can see it clearly.
You just flip it open.
Wow! You know what? Okay, it clicked through, or I guess tap through. You can't really click on a touchscreen. Tap through like news or tech or Oprah or whatever.
So let's go ahead and open a category. There you have it.
It's all headlines. But then, of course, you can dig in deeper. You know what? That works. That doesn't.
That doesn't work.
That definitely doesn't work.
So you can see, what if I turned it sideways? Does it fill out a little bit?
A bit more. It's definitely not perfect. But of course, what else do you expect when you're, going through an unofficial process? So then in terms of, getting this to work, you said you had to do some things manually. What was involved?
So if you're familiar with jailbreaking, you can use an SSH client. Like there's an open source one called CyberDuck.
Right. And they've got a beta version available for Windows now. CyberDuck does.
Yeah, it's a really easy to use tool. You just go in there and you configure CyberDuck to be able to tunnel into your iPhone. Basically, all iPhones have a standard username and password for root access. If you jailbreak your phone, it's common knowledge that the root access to your iPhone is root for username and Alpine for password, which is kind of concerning. If you jailbreak, the first thing you should be doing is changing. Yeah, this does look pretty funny. It's totally stretched out. But
are you watching the live video chat right now?
I have it minimized, but I kind of was when I was trying to figure things out, and I had this crazy look on my face. But what's up, Locker Gnome? If you guys are watching, we're having some fun with this little tweak of Flipboard from iPad.
That looks clean. It's when you open up the article that it gets a little wonky. So,
yeah.
Okay, so the manual process, you use CyberDuck, you tunnel in. What did you have to do differently, compared to the hack that was out there?
So with the SSH tunnel, I had to actually go into the root and then find the var folder. It's called VAR.
Right.
Standard. And then, drill down from that. Inside of var, there's another one called stash. And inside of stash, there's one called applications. So you just grab the Flipboard app, which, you can get right out of iTunes. You can get it out and then just place it into that folder there. And once it goes in there, you just change some permissions. We can put the exact details of the permissions and the location and all that stuff if you want in the description. But basically, once you pop it in there and you change some permissions, reboot your iPhone, it'll show up, and I'll show you how it shows up. The app icon itself doesn't have the standard rounded look. See if I can move it over here so you can see.
It may be a bit difficult to tell depending on the focus of your camera. Oh, but I see Toon Paint, Cartoonatic, and Quick, which is currently free this week.
Yeah, Quick is a hot one that just came out. It's for free. I did test it out.
This week only.
This week only. I did run a test with someone in the Midwest, going cross-platform between iOS and Android. So it does work pretty well. They were using a Sidekick 4G, and we were able to video chat no problem.
Nice.
So, it's a good alternative if you want to go cross-platform or anything like that.
So have you tried this on any other iPad native apps? Because, part of this is, I'm getting a little echo right now, but part of this is being able to use an iPad app like Flipboard on iPhone if you didn't have an iPad. But so many of these binaries are universal. So, for instance, what's a good universal app example? Skype is not. Skype only really is iPhone or iPod Touch native. It doesn't really have an iPad version, even though it works on the iPad. But upscaling any iPhone or iPod Touch app to the iPad just looks horrible. Apple's done a really bad job at that. Let's see here. What's a good Dropbox? There's a universal app, so it'll run native on an iPhone or iPod Touch screen or the iPad screen. Why would you want to run a hack like this other than to say, hey, look what I can do?
I'm completely with you there. I think some of it's novelty, just to be able to say, hey, look how cool this is. I have Flipboard on my iPhone. But then some of it you may be able to find some functional use out of. I just wanted to kind of see if I could make it happen and then find the benefit in whatever situation there may be. So far, I haven't, come up with any ideas of anything that we couldn't already do on the iPad where we'd want to do it on the iPhone.
Right. I mean, apart from, the novelty of the idea. So wait, I've got a question. Has Ty covered this yet? Did we beat Ty?
You know what's funny? I actually do read a lot of Ty's stuff. I think I read a couple of articles from Ty's iPhone Help on my way to figuring things out. So.
Damn you, Ty!
Ty's out there, and he's always doing a really thorough and good job of putting out details.
Oh, we love Ty. Just one day we'll beat him. Not physically, of course. I think he could take me in a fight if it came down to it.
I don't know, Chris. You got a lot of Darth Vaders there. They'll probably back you up.
All right, so you'll have the full instructions detailed done?
Yeah, pretty simple stuff. Basically we'll cover SSH and a couple permission changes. Nothing major. It's fun, and as everybody in the community gets to play with doing this, they might find some really big advantages of being able to do this. For one, the biggest one I can see right off the top is if you don't own an iPad and you want to use iPad apps, but you have an iPhone 4, iPod Touch, and it's jailbroken, you might be able to get a taste of what some iPad apps, could be if you had one.
I'll probably lose credibility for it, but I've yet to jailbreak because the only reason I can think of is because I can, and that's the only legitimate reason. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you remember the first time you showed me, hey, look, I can do an expose type of task switching, and you pulled it up, and then it crashed, and your phone rebooted. I'm like, yeah, it's really impressive.
That's going to go down in history. That's kind of how I felt about tonight. Here I have you all ready. I saw a couple of guys setting up a whole bunch of equipment. I'm like, okay, Chris is getting ready for showtime, and I had to be like, oh, Chris, I can't get this to work. So I kind of scrambled to make it happen, but it's totally true. Things will crash. Things will be very unstable. You really got to have a need for it. In my case, the biggest reason why I love my jailbreak is for convenience, but display recorder, just simple and plain.
Yeah, that does look cool. No, that absolutely does look cool. Although I got to tell you, with the iPad 2, being able to have HDMI out, I mean, it works very, very well. It's clean.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. And then there's a lot of things you can do with iOS that doesn't even require jailbreak. Like a couple of things that we hopefully will cover, like Banana TV and Banana Tunes. You can use your iMac as an AirPlay client. So whatever you're watching on your iPad, you can hit AirPlay and your Mac will start to play the video.
Yeah.
And that's,
that'd be nice.
I've tested it and it's jailbreak free. You don't need a jailbreak. I would continue to advise you to not jailbreak, Chris. I mean, for you, I really don't think it's worth the hassle. And it's cool that you support it either way, so people can.
Oh yeah, for a while it was questionable, but since the times change, and certainly it's a more of an open opportunity for people who want to do it. If you want to do it, fine. For me, absolutely not. There's nothing that iOS doesn't do today. I wish it would do some things better. Maybe we'll see it in future operating system revisions, but for now, stability is number one for me. Absolutely.
And you know what? I can attest to that. I was jailbroken on iOS 4.2, right? It went 4.21, 4.22, and now it's on 4.23. When I was on 4.22, it was the most unstable implementation of a mod called SB settings. It's the thing where you can go to your time bar up here, and if you swipe across it, it drops down a quick toggle of all your things. Well, every time I would hit this thing on 4.22, it would completely crash my phone. And again, this is like one of the biggest reasons why you do stuff like this is to be able to have convenient use of your phone, right? Not every time, when it crashes, it's kind of useless. So I had to actually downgrade my iOS version, which is something we covered in one of our previous videos, is how to downgrade because Apple does not allow downgrades. And that's another reason for jailbreaking. Sometimes you go to 4.22 and you're like, man, this thing's totally unstable. I need to go back down to 4.1 and, use some apps. And that brings us back to some feedback we're getting from the community. There's some people that had some assistive needs. Basically, there's a certain feature within iOS, I can't remember which version of iOS it is, that allowed some zooming functionality for people who had bad vision.
Yep.
And they must have done away with that because one of our community members was really trying to get it done. And I went back and forth with him as much as I could to help him. But it turns out that he did not have those identifier files, the SH files from a previous jailbreak. In fact, let me correct myself. You don't even need to jailbreak to save those identifiers. If you run the Tiny Umbrella, it just saves them for you, regardless of if you're jailbroken or not. So, like I said in the video, it's kind of an insurance policy. So for situations like that, if you really do have a need to go to a previous version of iOS, it's good to have those things on file because, we look at it from different perspectives, novelty, fun, utility, but there's, probably infinite reasons why some people would need to do a jailbreak, that limiting people from doing that may not be such a great idea.
True. Like I said, I think it definitely has merit. I just haven't really found I guess, time or a place for doing it. And maybe it would have been different had I been a lot younger with a lot more time on my hands. I am a full-blown adult at this point. I have other stressors and need my things to just work, period. And so jailbreaking is interesting, if only to see what can be done. So yeah, when you know that we can beat Ty to the punch, then we can try this again. Ty!
It's pretty tough. There's some people I just can't keep up with. You, Ty, Mark,
John,
John, all these guys that are just on it professionally. It's pretty hard. So I don't even try. I try to come at it from a benefit perspective and provide everyone with something useful that's relevant. It's still relevant regardless of when we do it. So, Ty, you are really good at this stuff. I'm not going to be able to keep up with you.
Yeah, I think we all know that. We all know he is the master.
But, we got a lot of useful stuff, Chris. Hopefully the community is enjoying being able to see different perspectives. The fact that you choose not to jailbreak is awesome. And the fact that we get to showcase some things that may be useful to others is cool too. So,
yep. I'm always surprised, the pushback that we get sometimes from the community. Some of the more popular videos are the ones that the community hates.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back and some of the Lego videos I've recorded. Oh, Lego, what that? And they've got some of the biggest amount of impressions because of other adult fans of Lego as well as kid fans of Lego. So community's good, but ultimately you have to produce things that are interesting to you. Otherwise, they really won't be interesting to anybody.
I totally agree. I look at everything from a benefits perspective. For people, it's like if they're going to spend 5, 10, 15 minutes of their time watching something, most of the time they want to either learn something or help them do something with their life, and they don't want to just mindlessly watch a bunch of stuff that's completely useless. So there's no question that that's what you do with your videos. And, on the things that I've been able to do as a guest for you, and most of the time if you watch my channel, I try to provide entertaining, educational, and beneficial type of content for people. So I think that's a good way to go.
So where's your channel?
My channel is youtube.com/rmalayeri. It's a funny one to say, but it's RMALAYERI, and people can see plenty of links to my channel thanks to Chris. He links to my channel in all of our jailbreak videos on Locker Gnome. So if you really want to find out more, just check out some of the jailbreak stuff on Locker Gnome.
All right. And where can they find me, Reza?
Let's see. We can find you at twitter.com/Chris Pirillo, facebook.com/Chris Pirillo. We can find you on MySpace. We can find you
Locker Gnome, yeah. 71,000. I'm up to 71,000 followers on MySpace now. That's up from 30,000 just 3 weeks ago. The geeks love MySpace. I don't know what it is.
I mean, at least you have some big muscles, because a lot of people are having muscle decay on MySpace. My MySpace is completely dormant. I haven't touched it in years. So we got you there. Then we got you geeking out 24/7 as usual, right here on live.pirillo.com. In fact, if you don't have a flash-enabled device, you can find Chris on your jailbroken Apple TV, on the WebKit browser at pocket.pirillo.com. And I may have missed a few. You got Chris's blog at chris.pirillo.com.
Yeah.
And lots of other places. You can find Chris on CNN.
No,
not column.
Yeah, they stopped contacting me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess my political views are too conservative. I don't know.
Well, there's always
the archives, though. Yes.
We can always bring Tech TV back, Chris.
I think it is. Tech TV never really died. It just shifted place. Now it's online.
Yeah, people need to watch that video of you keeping a straight face when the guy dropped like the priceless ancient relic. That was like one of my all-time favorites. That was hilarious. That and the chubby bunny one. That was really good too.
Oh, another classic. So how do I end the video?
You know what, guys? Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later.